Hello, everybody. Welcome to Biology in the Basement with your host, Mr. Andraco. We are moving on. Normally, we would have a quiz on just blood and circulation, but quizzes don't really exist, so you're doing that worksheet W20 whatever. It's all on School Tool. Check it out for your substitute quiz kind of thing. So you'll send me pictures of that, and that will wrap up the circulatory system, and then we're going to start to talk about the excretory system today. There isn't much to it. I will do a quick follow-up video before we move on to the immune system, which is a pretty detailed one. So we'll put these two systems together since they're both responsible for helping to clean out things that the body doesn't really need inside of it. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So let's have a fact of the day so that we can get started. And that is the second largest organ of the body, also the largest gland of the body, which is the liver. Right. The liver is the second largest organ of the body, second only to the skin. And the liver is well known as a chemical factory. Most of you think of the liver's job is to create bile, which can help to digest fats and lipids, but it does so much more. Scientists are not sure exactly, but they think that it is involved in over 600 biological reactions within it. Whether it's storing chemicals, breaking down chemicals, filtering the blood, turning chemicals into other chemicals that the body can use. It is an amazing organ. It is much larger than it needs to be for all the jobs that it does, but it serves us well. So we salute you, liver. All right, so what we've been focusing on is the digestive system getting the nutrients into the blood, and really the respiratory system getting the oxygen into the blood. Then we move to the circulatory system, where the heart's job is to pump these nutrients and oxygen around the body. Okay, they're not pumping it into the cells, but they are pumping it around the body. Right? The point is for it to be in high concentration in the blood so that they naturally diffuse in, right? A cell doesn't have active transport taking place, like pumping all these molecules in, only certain vitamins and minerals for certain cells. But for the most part, we just flood our bloodstream with sugar and oxygen and other nutrients so that they just naturally diffuse into our cells. So that's what we've been focusing on. But our cells are working. Our cells are working hard for us all the time, right? We talk about how your cells work up to 20 hours a day. And so we must have some kind of byproduct from all of their hard work. In that form, we create a few byproducts of cell respiration and digestion, and within the lysosome, that is, and protein synthesis and DNA replication. We're creating wastes. So we need to start looking at how we take materials out of the blood and get them out of our body. We need to get gases like CO2 out of our blood and out of our body. So not only is what we're going to focus on, obviously, is the kidney and the urinary system, but it is not the only excretory organ, because there are other cell products. We're going to actually talk about 4 of them. But I like to use this picture to kind of give you the schematic of what we're talking about. So we've gone through all the blood, and this is another spot I like to talk about, right? Your blood is in high concentration, where it's got lots of oxygen and nutrients, right? And water, amino acids for making proteins, oxygen and glucose for making energy, and water for certain But on the other side, we haven't focused on yet, right? But water is also an excretory product. There are other waste molecules, other nitrogenous wastes from these extra amino acids we don't use, and of course carbon dioxide, a byproduct of cell respiration. So these fill the cells, and they're toxins technically. They keep cells out of homeostasis, so we want to diffuse them into the blood. So now your blood is full of carbon dioxide, waste molecules, things that we will name right here. Okay, so for this section, our body is creating 4 main products. Okay, now when we talk about excretory, we're talking about cellular waste. Okay, cellular waste is what the cell produces. As you saw in the diagram, which I focused on, is poop is not really excretion. Poop is egestion, because that is not cellular waste. Those are undigested food molecules that never made it into your body. We're talking about the stuff that made it into your cells. Your cells used up that stuff, and now it's emptying out the trash. And so we have 4 main products: uric acid, mineral salts, water, and carbon dioxide. Right? The uric acid is mostly made up of nitrogen, or it's also known as urea. This is commonly all of the extra amino acids that may not be needed by the cells and other nitrogenous wastes. Mineral salts. Salts are a common byproduct of when acids and bases react, as well as salts and water are created. And we know that through good old cell respiration, we produce heat, which is another waste product, which we technically could include. It's not really a molecule, so that's why it's not written here, but it is an important waste product, is heat sometimes, water, and carbon dioxide. And so there are actually 4 excretory organs that are responsible. We're not just going to talk about the kidney and how it filters the blood, but like I said, the liver is very, very crucial organ in filtering the blood. Another one I talk a lot about is the skin. Usually when we talk about the skin, I'll mention people who are smokers. My dad used to be a smoker when I was a kid, and I remember when we would do laundry day and we would fold clothes, my dad would have his white undershirts, that he would wear under his shirt and tie, and all of his undershirts had yellow pit stains because he was sweating out that tar and all those chemicals from smoking cigarettes. And so your skin is also very much a filter throughout your body of many things, right? We know that our sweat is salty, and so it's excreting all the time. So it's not just for heat and other things, which we'll get into later. Moving on, though, and the lungs as an excretory organ, and of course an organ for getting a very important nutrient, oxygen, in. It's an excretory organ because it's taking that CO2 away. But of course, the Regents exam and most biologists focus on just the kidney. I think it would be just short-sighted to not mention those other 3 guys. They're very important in helping to get rid of cellular waste. But we've also got the kidney, which does the lion's share of the job, and so the Regents exam covers this one. So what are its jobs? Are to remove the waste from the blood. All of those molecules the kidney can remove. Its job is also to maintain your blood pH. You want to keep your blood pH somewhere around neutral. As well, you want to regulate water content and blood volume. You don't want your blood too thick. You don't want your blood too thin. As we usually talk about in the importance of blood, is when blood is too thick, you run the risk of clotting internally. External clotting is good because it keeps blood from pouring out of your body, but If a clot forms inside your blood, that means there is stoppage of blood to that part of the body where the blood needs to go. Those are bad and potentially life-threatening. And so you want your blood to be thin so that it just moves right through the blood vessels. The insides of your veins and arteries are very slick. They want to keep that blood moving as fast as it can. But if it's too thin, it's not going to have enough nutrients and gases and all the enzymes and antibodies and hormones that your cells need. So your body has to be thick enough so that it holds on to enough nutrients to keep your cells happy, which is the focus. So it's a very, very fine balance. Of course, the kidney doesn't do it alone, right? The kidney works with the liver. It works with the different hormones of the body to keep this in check. And we'll talk about that more as we move along. The way that this is done is through a nephron. The kidney is made up of millions of nephrons, right? We have 2 on each side. They are the single unit that makes up the kidney. And their job right here is one nephron is to first filter the blood, right? The dirty blood goes in, clean blood goes on its way. Where the bad stuff goes through the glomerulus and it heads down these filtering tubules. All of these collecting tubules will move down into your bladder, and once the bladder is full, it's time to go. So that's really a two-step process where first we filter, right, in the glomerulus, where that's like a capillary of blood, very small blood vessels. The wastes are pushed out into Bowman's capsules, so they head down towards becoming urine, and then the cleaner blood moves on. The other cool thing is here is one of the spots where we can also balance that water. If we want to maintain a water and salt balance down here through the loop of Henle is how we can do that. If we need extra water or salts, if you're dehydrated or you need the salts for other reactions, your body can reabsorb them in this loop of Henle. So once we have filtered the blood, we have reclaimed water or salts that may be needed by the body, then urine is formed. And so those are the main parts, where we have the 2 kidneys filtering, right? The dirty blood goes in, the clean blood goes back out, the dirty stuff heads down your ureter into your bladder until it is time to go. We'll get to talk more about sphincters at another time. I feel like this video is running kind of long, so let me give you your homework assignment for the next day. It covers the excretory system, which is H165 and 166, but also there's a little bit of a review of the excretory and digestive systems, H167. So that is your assignment. So, signing off from Biology in the Basement is Mr. Andraco. Hopefully we'll get to see you soon. Be safe and keep doing what you're doing. Things are working, and who knows, maybe I'll see you someday. All right, have a good one.